Last year, I ran my first marathon in 3 hours and 56 minutes. This year, I'm trying to run it much faster. And last year, everything went wrong. Everything. The year started off great. I thought I was doing the right thing. I hired a professional marathon runner as my coach. What could go wrong? Then the summer hit, and my best friend, my dog of 12 years, passed away from cancer. Summer wasn't done yet. It was 10 plus degrees above the average, making it one of the hottest summers I can ever recall. Then factor in, I overtrained. Not exactly the perfect recipe for a marathon build. But this year, it's different. It's 2026. And this year, the Indianapolis Marathon, November 2026. My goal is simple. Take as much time as I possibly can off that god-awful 356. That's how I feel. So for Marathon 2, I'm taking you guys along for the ride so that you can see the exact process that it is taking for me to go from a 356 marathon runner to one day qualifying for Boston. I'll show my weekly marathon training, my long runs, speed workouts, half marathon recap, and how I'm building mileage safely to get to my goal. So maybe you're wondering, is this series for me? Well, if you're a first-time 5K'er, first-time marathoner, or like me, you want to shave off as much time of your next race as possible, stick around. Whether you're current personal best is a 3-hour marathon, a 7-hour marathon, or a 60-minute 5K, there's going to be something here for everybody. You can learn from my mistakes, and hopefully you'll learn from my successes to see what actually works. So it is mid-February right now in Rochester, and as you can see, the snow has finally started to recede from the road. Now, I say that because we have had roughly about a foot to 2 feet of snow at any given time, and the snow just keeps steadily falling. So pretty much all of January and February so far, I have had to use my treadmill, which isn't bad because I really like the setup that I have, but come on, you can't beat that view. I'd rather be running out here. Come on. Look at that. So I'm really hoping that we don't get piled on snow tonight because today is my rest day. So I figured I'd do some filming as well as go to this beautiful area for you guys to be able to see. And hopefully tomorrow I'll have some more footage in my next video of my week 3 training starting on that beautiful road right there. So right now in mid-February, I am about 10 weeks out from my first half marathon of the year, my first race of 2026, the Flower City Half Marathon in Rochester, New York. This has been hold on, Daniel got lost. This is a race that I did last year when I was gearing up for the Guthrie Wineglass Marathon. And for this year, I'm going to do things a little differently. For this half marathon, I'm going to be testing to see where I'm at marathon-wise. My goal is to hold marathon pace for 10 miles and then simulate what I'm going to do in a marathon, hopefully towards the end of the race, which is give everything I got left. This, I believe, will be a nice gauge 7 months out of where currently I'm at and if I need to adjust what my goal is. Because right now, I currently don't have an actual time goal for the race. I just know it's beating 356. So right now, I'm not running with my coach that I did last year. However, what I am doing for my training is doing a mix of what she has suggested, and I've taken a plan from Ben Parks, I will put the link in the description, for a training block that I used from him for my last half marathon that I really liked, and I've adjusted it. So I've used the mileage that he suggests, but I've adjusted the pace for what works for me. So now let's talk about what I did during week 1. This week, I focused on a number of things that are important, and they're also the same things that I focus on every single week. I make sure I have my zone 2 easy mileage. I make sure to get in some speed work, different kinds of long runs so that I don't get bored. And all of this is geared towards getting faster, but building that aerobic base. Monday, nice and simple. Zone 2 goal was 3 miles, and I upped it to 3.5 because, I don't know. And then Tuesday was my rest day, which will be changing, as you'll find out. But this is what I was doing in my build-up, so it's going to be a little different week 1 versus week 2 because I didn't really start following the plan until week 2, so bear with me. Wednesday, some more zone 2, 7.5 miles of nice and easy pace. Thursday is doing intervals. My favorite day of the week, being a former track runner. I just like the quicker paces, even if, quicker quicker is relative. But this looks like 12 miles. I did a fartlek, which just means I didn't stop. What I like to do, and one thing that my coach had me do, was I extend my warm-ups. So now I'm doing roughly 2-mile warm-ups no matter what I'm doing. So you'll see I start with a nice easy 2 miles in zone 2 or zone 1, depending on how I'm feeling that day. And then I got into 16 by quarter-mile repeats. I was doing this at roughly a 6:52 pace or my 5K pace. Then a quarter-mile light jog. I try and make sure that I get my heart rate back down to zone 2 so that I'm ready to go for the next set. Friday, some more zone 2. Shocker. 5 miles here. So what I do for my strides here is I make sure to do them during the last mile. So I'll do them every 0.1 or 0.2 miles so that I can evenly split them out. And then it gives me enough time to recover. And then by the time I'm done, I have a very short recovery and I'm done for the day. And my strides, I try and make sure that I'm not overdoing it. I essentially just want to pick up the pace. I try and get into like what my mile effort feels like. I'm making sure that every stride is in control. So if I get to a speed that I am feeling out of control, I'm going too fast, because it's not meant to be an all-out sprint. Saturday, a little over 4 miles of zone 2 work, and then we get into Sunday. For this long run, I did about 16 miles. I did a generous 3-mile warm-up, and then I followed that with 6 times on and off, which for me this day just meant that I went slower than my marathon pace down to, I think, zone 2 pace. Not really pushing anything hard because I knew that my half marathon block was starting the next week. So that puts me at 48.13 miles for week 1. And the plan was for 45 miles, so a little bit more than I was supposed to. Now on to the second week of the training block. Scheduled 48 miles. This is where what I was doing in my time off has switched, and now my rest day is on Monday. I'm quite glad that it actually changed because I actually feel very refreshed this week. That change has done wonders for me. We also switched it up, so my Tuesday now is my interval day, which is really helpful because it's a day off from work for me, so I actually have more time to put into it and to put into my recovery from it. So this was 7 total miles, shorter than last week, significantly, but more for half marathon. I did just 1.5 miles as a zone 2, zone 1 warm-up, then into K repeats, which is 7 times 1 kilometer, plus a 2-minute walk for a break. So since I don't have an actual time that I am gearing for the half marathon, I'm doing these at effort. My goal for my heart rate here was to stay in between 176 beats and low 180s. If you're unsure what your zones are, you can check out the link in the description, because I have what I found is the most accurate way to come up with what your heart rate zones actually are, where it bases your heart rate reserved versus generic, put your age in and go from there. So as you can see, my paces were spot on. I mean, they're on a treadmill. My heart rate was below everything that I wanted to be, so technically I should have upped it a bit. And that's what you see here on K rep number 7, is I started noticing that my heart rate was significantly lower than what I was aiming for. So I sped up the tempo to make sure that I was getting the right workout in that was intended for this day. Hey guys, look at the deers. Hi, buddy. He's a good boy. There's deer. Deers like intervals too. Don't worry, I'm not gonna bother you. Okay. Since Tuesday was a hard day, I do recovery miles on Wednesday, which was 8 in zone 1 is where I'm aiming. But if I dip into low zone 2, I'm okay with that as long as my average stays in zone 1 and I'm not really getting into zone 2. Then Thursday, a mix of 6 miles here in zone 2. Then I also sprinkle in 20 to 30 minutes of strength, which for me, I do planks, I do some arm curls, shoulder lifts, some ab workouts, some leg work with free weights, and I like to focus on one leg because that's what you're running on. I do this for my thighs. I will also do calf raises, and I will do some stuff for my hips because that is one of my weak points. Friday, some more zone 2, 8 miles here, and strides just like last week. So I try and do these roughly every 1/5 of a mile so that they're sprinkled out starting at the beginning of the mile. Saturday, probably the easiest day of the week, some recovery miles in zone 1. This is where I'm very particular about my recovery. I want to make sure that all of my miles, not only my average in zone 1, so that I'm truly letting my legs get the recovery that it needs. It's getting at a dock. Now, my second favorite day of the week, the long run day, Sunday. Here we have just 13 miles because I am downshifting from what I've been doing in the off season into being able to ramp up during this training block. So here I did 5 easy zone 2 miles. Then I transitioned to a half marathon effort for 3 miles. And then I finished it off with another 5 easy, nice zone 2 miles to get me to 13 for the day. So my goal for half marathon pace here was to be in the 740s. I started off a little too quick. As you can see, my heart rate was higher than I intended. And so that is why I backed it off for the last 2 miles. But I also didn't want to back it off too much because even though my heart rate was saying one thing, I was feeling pretty good. So that is one thing also to notice, that your heart rate is there to guide you, but it's not always going to be the end all be all. There could be different reasons. So for me, when I'm on a treadmill, if I have the music going or if I'm watching something and it's intense, I will notice my heart rate will go up because of that and not because of the physical activity. So just be mindful. And for week 2, that puts us at a total of 48.12 miles. So pretty much the same as week 1, which was not my intent. So as you can see, to build marathon fitness or fitness for any race, there has to be a mixture working. And that's zone 2 miles, making sure you're getting in enough to give your body a chance to adapt to the training. Making sure that your speed workouts are controlled so that you're not overdoing it and you're not in risk of injury. Some smart long runs, mixing it up to make sure that you don't get bored and to make sure that you're getting the most out of long runs as you can to prepare yourself for what you're actually going to feel like on race day. And last but not least, proper recovery is the most essential part, because if your body is exhausted at the end of the week, you're not going to be able to go into the next week feeling refreshed and getting the most out of the 2 main days, your long run day and your interval session or your speed work. So if you're curious to see what trying to qualify for Boston actually looks like, or you're training for your own race, I'll see you next week for episode 2.